don't we, let's see. So we got Lauren, we got Sharon, Mary, and Rose. Um, why don't you guys just, let's start off and tell me just real quickly while we're kind of waiting for a few more people to get here. Tell me where you are in your academic career and what you want to do for a living. Just to give me an idea who you are. We could start with Sharon, and then we'll go to Lauren.
Hi, I am
Hi.
Sharon McCutcheon. I actually go by my middle name, Morgan. Thanks,
Okay.
Mom and Dad. I am 36. This is my second go at college. I had too much fun the first time, so I'm trying to take it a little more seriously and studying something I actually like this time, which is super helpful, which is art. So visual studies is my TCC major, and I want to do something in that field. I don't know what that looks like yet.
Okay, great. And where are you as far as your academic career? How far along are you?
I have about a year and a half left, as far as like getting my basics out of the way. So.
Okay, and then are you going to go to four-year university, or are you going to get your associates, or?
Yeah, I'm going to try and start applying to a four-year university after my second semester at TCC so I can kind of have a GPA that shows I'm capable.
Yep, perfect, good, excellent. Okay, and Lauren, we've talked, but talk to the class. You want to be a police officer, is that right?
No, to be an attorney.
Okay. And where are you again as far as your academic career?
I have about a year and a half left.
Okay, and that's you're getting your associates, or are you coming and just taking classes at Tarrant County and you're at university somewhere?
I'm already at a university somewhere, just transferring.
Oh, cool. Where are you?
UTA.
Oh, right. You told me that. Okay, perfect. Um, and remind us as far as your art experience. What's your art experience?
I have worked at Floor and Decor, and so I've been on the design team for a couple of years.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And what's your distinction between fine art and design?
It's pretty much the same. I mean, I'm do tiles and do different things with it, so there's not really much of a difference other than being a little bit more thoughtful, I guess, is the difference.
Okay. All right. Let's see. I'm going to just go across my screen. And for those of you that are, if you could turn your camera on, that would make me feel like at least I'm talking to someone. Let's start off with Madeline. Madeline, join the group. Hello.
Hello.
Where are you in your academic career?
I'm a junior this year, technically, and I just started to major in art, and I'll be transferring to UTA next semester.
Okay, excellent. So this is your last semester at Tarrant County?
Yeah.
And are you on South Campus, or are you just, where are you?
I'm on the Southeast campus.
Okay, great. And what's your art experience?
I've just taken art classes since like elementary school and stuff. That's about it.
Okay, great. Perfect. Thank you very much. Rose is blinking, and then we'll go to Mary. So Rose, join the group. Would you turn on your camera and let us see who you are and talk to us? There you are.
Hi.
Hello.
Yes. Hi, I'm Rose. I am academic career. I have, I'm similar to Morgan. What Morgan said is that I went through college once. Now I'm going back to change my career to art therapy. In order to do that, I had to take lots of prerequisites that I didn't get to do the first time around. So I'm really excited to dive into all these art classes and get that done.
Are you just starting, or are you, how far along are you?
I just started at TCC over the summer. And then I hopefully only have a year left before I can apply to graduate school. So.
Oh, great. Yeah. Excellent. So will you be able to finish your hours you must be at university somewhere to if you're going to jump straight into graduate school. Is that a fair assumption?
Well, I already got my bachelor's degree.
Oh, and you're just getting your basics out.
Yeah.
That you didn't.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah, because my original degree, I didn't get the art and psychology credits that I need to go to graduate school for art therapy. So that's what I'm doing now.
Excellent. Good. Thank you for clarifying that for me. And your art, what's your art?
My art, it's really, I draw a lot just on my own. I have some experience as both a client and a provider of art therapy. I never was an art therapist. I assisted one, as a volunteer position for over a year, and that was amazing. But we had to stop because of COVID because we were contractors, so that got cut off. But so yeah, but I also do it just as a hobby for personal expression, and so that's really where all my art experience is, as far as anything that's substantial outside of art class in school.
Excellent. Well, good. Thank you very much. Thank you for sharing that. Mary, talk to us. Hello. Make sure and unmute for us.
Hi, can you hear me?
We sure can.
Wait, let me.
Oh, all right. So she's gonna work that out. Well, let's see. She came back in. Let's see if it'll be easier to.
Okay. It says I'm not muted now. Can you hear me now?
You are. We can hear you.
Okay. Did you hear me a minute ago? Okay, I'll just
No.
start over.
Yeah.
My name's Mary. I'm doing still for the same thing that Rose is. I'm working on becoming an art therapist. My focus is on clay, and I have much more school to do than Rose because I still don't have my associates. I've almost got it completed, but it's not. I will be at least spring before I'm completed with that. So, I'm in an Uber right now going over to the ER for some complications I had with this surgery that I just had. But so that's why I've got the mask.
Okay.
Doing all the fun stuff. So.
Yeah, you are always on the move, and you got something going on, so that's good, Mary. Mary was started out with my last class, and then now she's back to continue on with her journey with Tarrant County Sculpture and Design. All right, great. And actually, Mary, what is your art? What's your art preference these days? What are you doing?
Ceramics is my main focus, but other than the classes at TCC, I've never actually taken art classes, so there's no telling what I'll learn through the process of doing everything that I'm doing. Right. So I just keep falling in love with everything that I learn. It's like, oh, this is fun. Let's do this now.
Great. It'll be fun to watch. Thank you.
Thanks.
All
Thank
right.
you, Dr. Scott.
You're welcome. Let's see. So I'm looking at, how about, is it Allie? Tompkins, Aaliyah, maybe. Aaliyah? I know I'm not saying it correct. Help me.
Oh, hello. Can you hear me?
Yes. Can you turn on your camera for me?
Yes. Sorry.
And I'll say it again. And I know that you guys want to be shy. My daughter wants to be shy. She works on not being shy all the time. But if you're going to be in the meeting, it's just weird to have everybody sitting in the dark listening. Why don't you turn on your cameras and be a part of this? And we'll get done with it as quickly as possible. But if you got to see my ugly face, then I want to see your pretty face. All right. Help me out with your name. I know I did a terrible job. Thank you, Mary.
It's Aaliyah.
Aaliyah, great. Thank you.
Yes. So I start off just with what I'm going to school for and how long
Yeah,
I've
just
been.
tell us what you're doing.
I started off going to school for art therapy, but now I think I actually want to try to be an art professor or an art teacher. I really want to try my hand in illustration and animation, but I would also really want to try to do like ceramic sculpture and glass work as well. After this semester, I have one more semester and then I'm done with TCC and then I'll be moving to a university.
Do you know where you're going to go?
I think I really want to go to UNT.
UNT, excellent. Yeah, they've got a very strong program. That's great. All right, well, thank you very much. Let's see, and then Deshaun.
Hello.
Hello.
Can you?
I can hear you, but I can't. There you go. Hello.
Hi. So yeah, I'm Deshaun Pearson, and this is my 3rd year at Tarrant County. And let's see. Okay, so I'm a graphic design major, and I plan on going to UNT after that. But my art, like what I really like doing is, of course, graphic design. I like digital media, but lately I've been doing like a lot of drawing and painting. So.
Excellent. What type of paint? What's your paint?
Acrylic. I really want to try watercolor because I've been seeing like a lot of other people's artwork with watercolors, but I haven't really got into it yet.
Man, I tell you, it's a certain type person that likes watercolor. It's a little bit messy, you know. You don't have the lines, but as a graphic artist, I could see where watercolor would work because if you're using your pen and ink and then coming back and adding the color to it, I could see how that would make sense.
Yeah.
Excellent. Well, thank you very much for sharing that.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else that is here that I'm not seeing on my screen that wants to check in with us? Okay, well, I will then start off with my spiel, what we're doing here. So I'm Scott Trent, and I'm in the fine art department at Tarrant County. I also teach at Collin College, and sometimes I'm at other colleges. I do a lot of online stuff in addition to the work I do at. You can make the noise, you're not. In addition to the online stuff, I do the design and sculpture over at Tarrant County, and my background is that one of the reasons I actually resonate with the college experience is it took me 40 years to get my degree. I went to school, so I can relate with going to school, and it just never made sense. You know, life just kept getting in the way, and it's funny because my biggest thing was that I loved starting businesses. So I'd start a new business, and then you'd have this weight of like, okay, do I go listen to this little short fat guy talk about something I don't care about, or do I go and make money? You know, and it was always the money. Always went for the money. And then that's why when I turned 40, I looked around and I was poor because I'd always gone for the money, but wasn't very good at getting it. And so at that point, I kind of like, okay, I just need to go back and do this. And in the next 10 years, I got 3 degrees. So I ended up getting my PhD in arts and technology over at the University of Texas at Dallas. And so I've been teaching since then. So I definitely came this late, and I understand the idea of life getting in the way. The other thing is I'm a metal sculptor, but I have a real passion for public art and large scale, monumental scale work. And so I do consulting, and I'm actually working on developing a program at Tarrant County around public art. So that's always an emphasis for me. And what public art means is that instead of creating something and leaving it in your room or putting it in a gallery or hanging it on the wall, you put it out where people interact with it. You put it out in the community. You put it out in public. And just the fact of doing that, your art's always going to be bigger. It has to be if it's going to live out there. And then there's other considerations such as the weather and dogs. You know, anybody that's ever created art, a sculpture for a dog park, knows that you either elevate that or you get used to the pea patina, right? Because the dogs are just going to come by and do whatever they want to do. And if you're okay with that, then it's cool. But if that's going to annoy you, then you probably don't want to put your art in a dog park. So these are just things that you think about. The other thing that's fascinating to me about public art is that um, you have to be much more aware and accepting of people's acceptance of your art. And most anyone that's an artist, to continue on expressing yourself and putting yourself out there, you pretty much have to be oblivious or not care or be able to ignore people's opinion about your work, because they're going to have an opinion. I remember the first time I delivered a sculpture, and they said, "Oh, cool, you know, tell me about it, blah, blah, blah." And they're like, "We're going to call it," whatever they called it, Bob, you know. And I'm like, yeah, but that's not what it's not Bob. It's, you know, it's this other thing. It didn't matter at that point. It was no longer mine. It was theirs. And so it's just an important thing that you have to recognize, that after you make a creation and you put it out in the world, it's no longer yours. And you have you can design to that, you can consider that, or you can just be pissed off all the time that people keep taking your art and turning it into something that you didn't want it to be. And once again, you can also design to that where you know that they're going to have a certain reaction or response, and nudge them to go the direction you want to go, if you want to even think about it. One of the big distinctions in between design and fine art: design is created for someone else. It's created to solve a solution, to create a product, for a purpose. Fine art never has a purpose. It never has a purpose. And if you're doing it for someone else, then it just went over to design. It's not fine art. And matter of fact, there's fine art snobs who say if it has any kind of practical application, then it's not fine art. It might be a craft. It might be it's not fine art. And so, for instance, there's people that are in quilting, and if you make a quilt as your fine art, even if you never intend for it to be used as a blanket on a bed, and you just first thing put it up on the wall, it's still a craft and not fine art, because it has a practical application. Excuse me, Tiffany lamps are a great example of that. They are beautiful and they are amazing and they are expensive, and it is an art, but it's a craft, not a fine art, because it's ultimately a lamp, and so therefore it has a practical application. So this class, as far as whether we're online or in face-to-face, I don't really care. Matter of fact, the way that I've always done my class is I don't make the students, I don't really, during our studio time, I don't ask you, you don't have to stick around in the studio and do your work. You can go home and do it and then come back. And so we really just meet to discuss the work and show each other our work and have that dialogue and critique and conversations around the art. But I've never really set it up where you create the art in my space. And part of the reason is because it's so diverse what you might do, whether you work with clay, ceramics, paper mache, metal, wood, it doesn't matter. And that's the distinction for my class. Someone emailed me this, I can't remember who it was, and they asked, is everything 3D? Can it be 2D? So no, everything that we do is three-dimensional. It's a sculpture. Now, can you do something sculptural that hangs on a wall? Of course. But there's a fine distinction where you're not painting on a flat canvas or creating with the ink and pencil or even on a computer. It has to be something, and think of it this way, it has to be something that you can put out in public. It has to be something that you can it stand on its own and live outside in public and survive. And that's my emphasis for my sculpture class and design. The way that I bring design into sculpture is that you have to consider the art, every aspect of the art. So a great example is if you create a sculpture, the base is just as important as the rest of the work. They're not separate, they're not independent. And so if you create a sculpture and you don't consider the base, then when someone looks at it and they step back, they're going to see the whole thing. And let's say you did a base where you didn't think about the color or the material or the shape or anything, and it actually can take away from your original idea of the design. So you have to think it all the way through. A couple semesters ago, there was a student who created this beautiful piece that they hung in the lobby of the fine arts department. And they had it on the wall, and they used Scotch tape to put it up on the wall. I don't have a problem with Scotch tape, but it's like they had it like 100 pieces of Scotch tape all where it's taped up there. And the tape wasn't part of the art. Matter of fact, it made it just look like crap. It looked terrible. And the piece was actually well conceived. It was nicely done. But the fact that they taped it up on the wall and the tape then became part of the art and it didn't work, it looked really bad. And that would be an example where you have, in the design of it, you have to think of every aspect, including how you're going to exhibit it, how you're going to display it. And so that's where the design part will come in and be very important in this overall, in this class. And it will going forward. Matter of fact, I have a lot of things that I've written about design thinking, and that's what I'm talking about. So let me jump back. That reminds me of two things. One is I need to 30 minutes in, I need to tell you that this is being recorded. So one, you need to know that, and I'll post it for those that, Sharon, are you okay with that? Yeah, I know, 30 minutes in, right? I actually put it on my thing and I haven't looked over there. And I will post this for folks that weren't able to attend today. Textbook. I don't have a textbook for the class, but I do have a workbook. And if you go to Blackboard, if you go to Blackboard, in the announcements and in the lessons or the modules, whatever they are, there should be a link to the workbook. If you can't find it, let me know and I'll repost it. In the announcements, make sure you scroll all the way down. With all my classes, they are a compilation of multiple classes. And I just kind of piece them together and put them all together depending on the length of the class I'm teaching and whatever semester is. So you might listen to a lecture where I'm referencing snow outside, and but it's not snowing outside. And that's because I recorded that in a different semester. And I'm okay because the content's still the same. My references just might be out of context. But once again, as opposed to me just saying the same thing over and over each semester, it's just easier for me to pull those together. So that's why in your announcements, you might need to scroll all the way down to find the link to that workbook or to find something that you need that's referenced in the lessons. What you can trust is in the announcements, I put the course, the syllabus, and the course schedule. And those should be current and accurate. And I think even I have deadlines somewhere in those, and those should be current and accurate. Now, if they're not, which by the way, I think we even started off this class where I had a deadline of like September 2nd. And I got quite a few emails like, hey, Scott, that's great, but the class doesn't start till September 4th. I'm like, oh yeah, that's excellent point. And I went and corrected it. And by the way, I will tell you, I will make a lot of mistakes. So I need your help making me better, making sure the class is right and that it makes sense. And I'm okay with that. You know, it's just together. We're doing this together. And I realize that I'm always going to make mistakes. And with your help, I'll be better. And I would appreciate that. So email me and let me know. Email, call. My preference is that you email me. That way I can process it and answer it in my own time. I believe in the syllabus it should, and I'm not sure if there is a syllabus for this class, but if there's not, I'll make sure there's one. In the syllabus, there's my phone number, and there's also should be my personal email address. Anything official business, school business, like grades or some issue you're having, make sure you send it through the scott.trent@tcc.edu, not my TCC, but just tccd.edu, scott.trent. And then but if you are looking for a quick response, it's always easier for me to just respond to my personal email, and that's fine. It's not a problem. The phone, as far as the phone, I believe I always include my cell phone, and that's fine. I don't care if you have my cell phone number, but I will tell you there's no reason to call me. There's no reason to text me. I don't need to know if you're going to be in class or not. I don't need to know why you weren't in class. I don't need to know. I don't want you to call and ask me what we're going to do in class. I don't want you to call me and ask me what we did in class. Contact each other. Take care of each other. Normally in a face-to-face class, I get you guys to exchange contact information. If we need to do this, if you find that you want to contact other people in class, let me know, and I'll put out there y'all's contact information, your school contact information, or whatever you want, so that y'all can connect with each other. You are a community, and you're going to go through this experience for the next 16 weeks together. So I always try to encourage you guys to take advantage of each other and connect and support each other. Part of my deal is I don't like to teach the class on solo, one-on-one with people. That's the reason we have a classroom. It's the reason we have it set up this way. And it's more efficient for me. I teach multiple classes. Every semester I have, a couple hundred students. And so it's hard for me to do one-on-one. Now, that also has me jump to the one-on-one calls that we have scheduled. So one of the things that to compensate for not having the face-to-face is I want you guys to contact me, and so we can have a team. I'm going to call it Zoom because it's easier, but these team meetings. And so this semester, I want to meet with each one of you one-on-one via a team, a Zoom meeting. And once you contact me and tell me what your preference is, then I'll set the meeting up, and that'll be our confirmation, and then we'll have a 30-minute conversation. And basically, it's to kind of just get to know you a little bit better and then talk about your art and how it applies to the assignments in the class. So that's what we'll discuss. And you are graded on this. Everyone needs to contact me because it's worth 100 points. So do that. It's an assignment. It's a grade. Lauren already has her 100 for this semester, so good for her. Contact me via email, suggest some date and times all the way through the end of the semester. I'll probably schedule 2 or 3 a week, whatever I can fit into my schedule. Then I'll make sure and arrange with you guys. So and I'm available Monday through Friday, 8 to 6. If Monday through Friday doesn't work for you, you need a weekend time. I'm basically available 7 days a week, but I'm gonna probably try to push everything through the Monday through Friday. I definitely don't like to do this stuff at night because I have my family and I gotta give my daughter a bath, so I can't squeeze it in the call in there. So attendance. I expect you to sign in on the website at least once a week, and I will grade you absent if you hadn't signed in. This is for you and it's for me. It's for the school. They want us to keep attendance, but also since this whole class is online, it helps. If you fall behind, it's just tough to catch up. And I do have deadlines for the class, and I do that also because I don't want everything turned in at the end of the semester. So if you want the full points, the full credit, turn stuff in by the deadline. If you miss the deadline, I still would encourage you to turn it in, but you won't get full credit. So that's how that works. In the workbook, there's a couple places where I reference stuff. So like, for instance, a template for a proposal, maquettes, critique. I created the workbook to complement this course, and so there's some valuable stuff in there. So I would encourage you to familiarize yourself, or at least go find that, and when you need it, you have that available to you. There's no cost. It's a PDF that you can download, or you can just link to. Your assignments will be done, so you will create the work at home. So I think I have 3 sculpture projects. Matter of fact, I haven't even looked on the class, but I think the self-portraits, were those due this week or they due next week? Anybody know? Next week? Next week, okay. So that's your first sculpture. And like I said, sculpture can be anything, any material, anything that you want. What I would encourage you to do whenever you take a class like this, a studio class, I would strongly encourage you to think about your portfolio, especially for those of you that are want art, like you're pursuing an art career. You will need a portfolio. You will need to show people your work, whether you're just doing it for your school or your school portfolio or your professional portfolio. Don't ever do anything that you don't want to add to your portfolio. That's just a waste of time. So maximize your time, maximize your effort, and you'll create some good stuff. And you want to capture that. You don't want it to get away from you. And you will need that the rest of your life. So, so for instance, this first sculpture, it's a self-portrait. And in essence, that means it can be anything. You just need to show me and the class how it represents you, what it is that connects to you, makes you, makes us think of you. Lauren, do you have a question? Or did you just wake up? No question. All right. I'm kidding. All right, got it. Hold it. Was that a rabbit or a bunny? Is that a rabbit or a cat? What? What kind of cat is that? Somebody call someone. That cat lost its fur.
It's a
Dang.
sphinx.
What is it?
Sphinx.
A sphinx. Wow. That's, I'm going to say, it's a little freaky looking. Look at that tail. Oh, look at all those wrinkles. Does it get cold during the winter? All right. Yes, no. No, you put a coat on it? Him, her?
Sometimes it wears clothes, sometimes I don't, but 9 times out of 10, they stay warm. Their body runs well in winter.
Do you put clothes on because he's embarrassed that he doesn't have fur?
No.
All right. Okay. So, so the sculptures, do something that you're proud of. I find that in all my classes, doesn't matter what I teach, I grade you based on your thinking, the fact that you put some thought into what you did. And if any of you are, a few of you have talked about art therapy. If any of you get into a creative graduate program, let me give you the secret right now. If you can talk about and justify anything you can do anything. So that's where a lot of times you listen to the artists in graduate programs, and quite honestly, a lot of it just sounds like BS. Well, the blue reminds me of the sky floating on the horizons that makes me feel like I'm deep and connected. It's like, okay, great. But it also going to just be BS. So be able to think through it. Whatever you do, explain it, understand it. So this helps to be introspective. It helps to be insightful. It helps to be knowledgeable. It helps to be intelligent. And it adds to your creation when you have that kind of depth behind it. Now, I'll just quickly give the other side of that argument. I have friends who are artists and are like, I don't want to think about it. It's just what it is. It's an orange on a table. Well, you already explained more than a lot of people explain about the art, even though you didn't want it to be anything. So I got it, and that's fine. But that's still, there's a thought process there. And another key word is process, and I'll talk about that all semester long. It's very, very important to know your process. And I'll talk more about that later on, and I'm sure I already have some lectures on this. Now, we shouldn't have to meet again this semester except for the one-on-one meeting, because I should have all the lectures that you need that support the assignments and support the course. If we do get where you guys want to meet again and you have questions or I need to elaborate on some stuff, let me know and I'll either set up a meeting or I'll just create a lecture and post it. But because this class is online, I don't expect you guys to meet at a specified time. I know that, once again, because of the nature of life right now, that people expect us to be doing these kind of meetings. And so you might be working today and can't attend this meeting, or you do your schoolwork at night instead of during the day, or whatever. So I understand that, and I'm sensitive to that. So that's where I'll pretty much try to communicate with you via taped lectures, and then you can watch them at your own pace. Let me pause for a minute and see if anyone has any questions or anything that I'm not covering that you'd like to hear about. Nobody? Please go ahead.
I do have a question.
Yeah, please.
So what was the better email that you said we should use? You
What
didn't.
was the? Say it
You
again.
you gave us the official email that we need, or that we'll get stuff from you about grades and things, but then you said you had a different email that would be better for us to send things to. What is
Yeah,
that
if you
email?
want to, yes, thank you. If you want a quick response and it's not something that's official business, you can do the scott@inxlab.com. INXLAB .com. Scott,
Okay.
SCOTT.
Okay, thank you.
And has anybody looked at, do I have a syllabus posted? Because I should, but I'm not, I can't remember if I did. Anybody? No?
I can look really quick.
Yeah, if there is, then that information will be in there. If there's not, then I need to post a syllabus for you guys.
There's not one there.
Okay, thank you. All right, I'll get one posted this weekend. And so it will have that information. It'll also have the assignments. Let's see. Let's see. So we are able to use any materials we like for these sculptures. There's not a, that's correct. Yes, Aaliyah, any material, it doesn't matter. It just needs to be a sculpture. So if you use mixed media, if you use metal, wood, it doesn't matter. It's up to you. And I like that because there might be some medium that you're really excited about right now and you're exploring. It just needs to be sculptural. And I will say this, there's two more assignments where you need to think about them being outdoors. So if your medium is paper mache right now, that's great. I have no opinion about it, but you have to figure out how to make that durable outside with the wind, the rain, the sun, the dogs, the kids, on and on. And so you'd have to, like, I could think you'd put a coating. So I'll answer that question just 1 second. So the coating on there would need to make it durable, and you'd need to figure out how to secure it down so it doesn't blow away and that kind of stuff. So I don't care what the material is, but you will have to consider the different aspects of it being public art outside. Does the sculpture need to be large? You're welcome. So once again, for the self-portrait, I don't care the size of it. So just something that you can show us, take a picture of, and display. For the project where you're doing that, you're creating a sculpture that be public art. Think of it this way. Let's just say you live in an apartment and you decide you're going to put a sculpture outdoors, and you're going to put it on your back porch. And for that one, I want it to stay out there for the duration of this course. So I want to see how it weathers. I want to see if you consider all the things. I want to see how it does. That's part of the grade. Well, you can make it small, but who's your audience? Who's it for? How's it going to sit in that space? That's part of the public art that, if you put something outside, it's always been amazing to me because I create large pieces, and it doesn't matter how big I make it. If I put it outside, it all of a sudden becomes this big. It disappears. The outdoors just gobbles it up. So there's ways you can get around that one. You can make it bigger. You can put it on a pedestal. The color you use. Like if I create something and put it outside and I paint it white, no one's going to see it. Or yellow, no one's going to see it. It's going to wash out. If I paint it red, like a bright red, and people always make fun of me because I do everything in bright red because it makes it bigger. It makes it stand out. It's not a natural color necessarily. And so it's going to contrast to its surrounding. So you need to consider that. And once again, if you say, hey, Scott, I made it small because I want people to not see it and step on it all day long, and that's part of the work, then I'm like, okay, if that's what you want to do, how'd it work out for you? But you need to have considered that. So I'm going to tell you that mostly for most of you, your outdoor piece, your public art, you're going to want to be a little bit bigger. And I like that because it also might challenge you guys where maybe you normally make small things that sit on your desk. I want to see something a little bit bigger. And I'm sensitive to money. I don't want you guys to have to spend a lot of money for this class. And so, one, that's why I want you to always make sure you're doing it for your portfolio. But two, do it based on your budget. That's kind of part of the process. I've literally created work based on the size of my studio. And even today, I create work based on the size of my car and whether I can bring stuff from Home Depot or not. That's just part of your process. So if you're poor, then you're going to create art that reflects that you're poor. Now, people might not see it, but here's a great example. I never became a bronze sculptor because to go to a foundry and create the final work can cost $20,000 to $40,000. $20,000 to $40,000. Who has $20,000 to $40,000 sitting around? Like, oh, I want to create this idea that I came up with, and I hope I sell it someday. So I'm going to get it made. I'm going to just shell out my $35,000 and hope someone buys it today or tomorrow or next year. No, I can't do that. So all my art's always been found metal, and that's because I'm poor and I don't want to have to sell the art to keep creating art. I don't want that to be a factor. So I use art that I find or that I can get discounted or I can afford. And then the next thing that of my process that affects my work is my metal is always really thick. I like really thick, heavy metal. One, I like the heavy metal because that just fits my personality. But two, I have a stick welder. Stick welders traditionally do heavier metal than like a MIG welder or even a TIG that does specialty metals. So I'm never working with stainless steel or brass or anything like that because I don't want to use specialty metals. It's more expensive. I don't have a TIG welder. I don't have a MIG welder. So I don't feel comfortable doing the smaller stuff. So all my stuff has always been big, heavy metal because that complements the stick welder. My process, my life, who I am, controls and dictates my art. And it's very important that you recognize those things as quickly as you can because it influences who you are and what you create. All right, so the self-portrait sculpture does not need to be large, but the public art one will need to be larger. And then the final one, where you're going to imagine the final sculpture project of the semester, you're going to imagine a monumental scale, large scale sculpture. So we're talking 12, 14, 20 feet, whatever you can come up with, sculpture. You're not going to build it, but you're going to do conceptual drawings of it, and you're going to do a maquette. And a maquette is a model, a replicate of what you're imagining. It's taking your conceptual idea, your conceptual drawing, and creating a small scale of what you think you want to build or what it's going to look like. And that's for you, it's for the customer. There's a lot of reasons to do that. And I have a lecture on that, and I can talk more about that later on. But that's where you're going to imagine a large scale work outdoors, but you're going to create a maquette, concept drawing, and a proposal around that. Okay, so I've said about everything that I need to say and want to say. Why don't you guys talk to me? What do you need to know from me? What other questions you have? What can I clarify about the course? Everybody clear? I mean, it all makes sense to you? Yeah? It's not that complicated. Just art. All right, so you're what you need to do, and then I would do it in the next week, is I'd find somewhere on your calendar, and it can be anytime up to the last week of the semester, and schedule a meeting with me. It probably would be better to do that later than now, and the reason why is because right now you don't know what the questions are, and also think of our meeting as kind of a consulting, where you can talk about your art and your process. You can talk about whatever you want. I have a few questions that I'll ask you, but it's basically just talking about the semester. And the idea is where I can give you some one-on-one feedback, critique, talk to you about your process, your art, whatever you want to talk about. And but let's go ahead and get that on the calendar now. I'll do it through Teams, so it'll be there. And then I probably won't send you a reminder. You'll need to make sure and record that for yourself so that you can remember to get back with me. Just send me an email give me a few dates and times that are good for you, and I'll look at my calendar and I'll make sure that we've got it down. All right, guys. Well, I'm not going to ask you again if you have any questions. You should have my contact information now. I'll put up the syllabus so that you'll have all my emails and my phone number, that kind of stuff. And I'm looking forward to the semester. I actually, it's always cool for me to meet you guys and see who the students are, because then I get enthusiastic, because when I'm just teaching online, I'm just looking at names on a screen. But to actually see you guys and realize how impressive you are, and kind of get excited about seeing what you're going to create, it makes it fun for me. This is why I do it. So thank you for being here. Thank you for being a part of this. And let's go and create some stuff this semester. Sound good? All right. Well, you guys have a great day, and I will see you online.
Okay, thank you.
All right. You're more than welcome. All right.
Thanks.
All right. Bye-bye. I'm going to cut you off right now. See you guys. Bye.
See you.